וקורא עונג שבת.
Last night, we spoke about this day as an opportunity to come home, an opportunity to return to our truest selves, who we are when we're not performing, when we're not hiding, we're not evading our own inner call. What does it mean to be ourselves? And I want to continue with that, to speak about this challenging time that we're in as one that makes that task all the more vital, all the more necessary. Yom Kippur offers a haven. It is literally a chance to step outside of the normal life, to be able to walk away from our daily concerns and to be able to be in a sheltered place where we finally have a chance for the noise to clear away, to think about who we want to be. Yom Kippur offers us a balcony, an opportunity to step above the fray, to be able to take a broad view, to look at the long distance and see where we are and where we yet need to go. And then, in the most Beverly Hills of ways, Yom Kippur is a spa for the soul. I assume I don't need to explain that concept. But to take advantage of the haven, the balcony, the spa, requires us to have a process to be able to face ourselves without fear, to be able to be truly honest with ourselves, to approach our world and our souls with curiosity and with honesty. We all of us face a fork in the road. The future that is coming our way has not yet been decided. The liturgy that we've prayed reminds us that we have a hand in deciding which future becomes real. And that is determined in part by the choices that we make today and every day. So I want to share with you one of my favorite passages in the Talmud. The Talmud in Masechet Shabbat, the volume of the Talmud that deals with the issue of the Sabbath day, how appropriate that today is a Sabbath and a Yom Kippur. Rava points out that in the world to come, when we stand before the throne, we will be asked 5 questions. Amar Rava, B'sha'a shemachnisin adam ladin, omrim lo, 1. Nasata v'natata be'emunah. Have you conducted your business faithfully? 2. Kavata itim l'Torah. Have you set aside regular time for Torah? 3. Asakta befria urvia. Have you engaged in procreation? 4. Tzipita lishua. Have you imagined or awaited salvation? And then 5. Pipalta bahochma. Hevanta davar mitoch davar. Did you engage in the pursuit of wisdom, distinguishing one matter from another? I think all 5 of these questions offer us a key to unlock aspects of ourselves and aspects of our life. So I'm going to dig into each of them in a moment. That first of them, that first deep dive, did you conduct your business faithfully? Nasata v'natata be'emunah. Now on the pshat level, on the surface, that's important. We all spend a good deal of time making a living, supporting our families and ourselves, making our way in the world. Did you do that in a way that reflects your core values? Did you conduct your business in a way that reflects Jewish values, so that it is indeed a difficult world, but we acted with honor? But I want to unpack those words a bit on a deeper level. The two words that it says, nasata v'natata, natan is to give. Did you give something? Nasa is to lift, to carry something up. Most famously in the Torah, the book of Exodus tells us that if you see the animal of your enemy fallen under a burden, you are to noseh it, you are to lift it up. Lifting up is an act of engagement and in empathy. Did you conduct your affairs in a way that was a gift to yourself and to others? Did you behave in a way that lifted the burden? And did you allow yourself to see the burden of the other as yours as well? It's a call not to see the world as radically alone, but rather to invite an ongoing engagement, an interaction, a process. Second question, kavata itim laTorah. Did you establish a fixed time for Torah? Now, what the rabbis meant by that was literally, did you make time to learn? And that's a very good question, because what I can tell you from my own life and that of my students is the desire to learn doesn't translate into much if you don't make time for it. But I also want to hold out that Torah is way more than just learning. Torah is a discipline. It's a way of holding ourselves as we go about asking the questions. The great challenge of Torah learning, unlike much of secular learning, is that it is not value neutral. Torah learning is meant to enhance life. It's meant to build community. If your learning does not do those things, then even if what you're studying are the 5 books of Moses, well, that's a PhD in Near Eastern studies. That's not Torah. Torah builds life, builds community. Do you make time for that kind of learning? The learning that you need to be available to yourselves and to others. And then, of course, Torah is also doing. It is a life of living in the realm of the holy, and it is an act of constantly saving the world from falling into an abyss of self-absorption. My favorite is number 3. Did you engage in priya urvia? Those of you who are Hebrew experts know that pru urvu is something that the Jewish community encourages, and I'm happy to let you know it's a mitzvah. So those of you who are intending to have kids this year, that's a very good thing, and that means you get to check off question number 3. But it's more than that, of course. To live in a way oriented to priya urvia is to be oriented to the future. It's to say that the efforts we put out into the world are not simply to hold on to a receding past, but rather to build a kind of future that is worthy of us, that we are each of us committed to creating novelty in the world, so that at the end of our lives, at least a piece of the world is not the same as it was before we started our lives. Are you living in a way that is making something new, that is doing something unprecedented? Are you expressing yourself in a unique way, a life of fruitfulness, an attitude of possibility and of affirmation? Fourth, tzipita lishua. Do you wait for redemption? Now, the English makes it sound very passive, sitting around and waiting, but that's not the Hebrew. Tzofeh is a vision. Can you see the redemption that is not yet here? I have a teacher who taught me that there are things you see with your eyes open. You can look around the room and see the seats and the lights and us. That's with your eyes open. But the really important things in the world, you often have to close your eyes to be able to see. Can you see the loved ones who are no longer here? Can you see the loved ones who are on their way and not yet here? Can you see a world of peace and harmony and justice and joy? Do you envision the Yeshua, the salvation yet to come? And then, of course, to be able to have a vision requires, I think, to hold on to hope, a sense that that better tomorrow can come if we don't surrender, if we don't give in, if we wrestle it into reality. And finally, it is a shunning of cynicism. Cynicism is that hard acid that boils away everything worthy in life. The firm conviction that no good can possibly emerge, that everyone's motives are not only suspect, but tainted, evil. Cynicism robs us of any possibility of joy or goodness by just spreading a vicious kind of doubt in everything we do. But waiting for redemption is the rebuttal of cynicism. I hope, despite the evidence, I continue to affirm that tomorrow will be better, and that act of resistance to cynicism is the only way to make that tomorrow happen. And then finally, the last, pipalta b'chokhmah, do you engage in wisdom, distinguishing one matter from another? Now here I want to start by making a distinction between one matter and another. Cynicism is not the same as skepticism. I encourage us to all be skeptics. If someone says something that is unbelievable, don't believe it. If someone says something that's incredible, literally, make them prove it. Ask for the evidence. If someone promises you something, show me first, right? But skepticism is the opposite of cynicism. Cynicism is don't bother showing me the evidence, I already don't believe you. There's nothing you can say to make me imagine a better tomorrow. I've seen those promises before. But skepticism is open to the possibility, no, someone might actually have an insight right now that can get us through this. So I invite us to a robust skepticism in the service of getting rid of cynicism. But to do that is to be able to use wisdom to help make that better tomorrow. Now, I want to point out these 5 questions that the Talmud asks us. They are none of them questions you studied in Hebrew school. That, by the way, is a problem with Hebrew school and Jewish education, right? They're not questions about how long do you wait between meat and milk. They're not questions about how long your tzitzit have to be on the corners of your garments. They're not questions about do you do Mari first or you do Havdalah first tonight. Those are all lovely, very interesting Rabbi kinds of questions, but the Talmud says in the world to come, no one cares. That's not what they're going to ask. They're going to want to know, do you have commitment? They want to know, have you lived wisdom? They want to know, are you oriented to a future of hope and possibility? Have you embraced skepticism in order to defeat cynicism? Do you live your life with curiosity? Are you building a world of meaning? And the time to start asking these questions is not in the next world, it's today and now. I may have told you in the past one of my favorite stories about my grandmother, my father's mother, Minna. Nana Minna was a chain smoker, and she smoked her entire adult life. One day, the story goes, she was walking down the hallway of her home, and she had one of those beautiful hallways with a big mirror and a gilt ornate frame around it, and she saw herself in the mirror with the cigarette hanging from her mouth. And she pulled herself up, and she said to that mirror, Minna, Who is the captain of your soul? And she took the cigarette, snuffed it out, and never smoked again. Who is the captain of your soul? Are you living a life of abundant curiosity, of tireless hope, of renewed engagement, of the seeking of the kind of wisdom that will make our lives not only bearable, but glorious? Who is the captain of your soul? Shabbat Shalom.